All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to tonight's NASCAR '07 coverage as we are at the Bristol Motor Speedway for the Food City 500, and this will be the next Cup Series race, full race at that, 100%. Only the third 100% race of the season, despite the fact that this is race number 5. Sorry for the 1 hour delay at the start of the stream, but we are here now, nevertheless. Hopefully you enjoy a 500 lapper at the Bristol Motor Speedway, of course, running the season with Dave Blaney. We have not yet taken the points lead this season, but we do have 3 wins in a row in races 2 through 4 on the year. Somehow still 17 points behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. for that points lead in the early going of the year. We'll see what we can do starting at the back. No practice, no qualifying. And, yeah, let's get into this one here. Green flag in the air. We're underway. Push down to the apron there off the initial start, St. Pirelli and Sadler, and for me, I kind of spun the tires off the start there at Dave Blaney. Now, Dave Blaney's actually got B equipment for short tracks. It's the best of any of the types of racetracks. So hopefully that will be good for us going forward. Ryan Newman, by the way, on the pole. Contact with David Stremme in the 40 car. This thing feels very loose, by the way. 3 laps complete. I've made contact with 2 cars already. And I've scraped the wall once. Xavier Dero Racer, Wade Solinsky, Billy Kramer, Ryan Berwick, Mark DeMars. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Oh, gosh. I'm really trying not to make contact with anybody, clearly. It's a 500 lap race at Bristol. Last thing I want to do is damage the car completely, but this thing is so unstable right now. I think that's where it gets you when you run with these lower tier teams, if I had to guess. Oh, contact between Truex and Kurt Busch as well there. Got delayed for a rain delay. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah, I'm definitely ready. I get to watch the game tomorrow night, so that'd be cool. The NASCAR races, NASCAR action with the live commentary stuff going on earlier in the day. Michigan playing prime time. Definitely a long drive up through the field. I'm wondering if we're going to see the same kind of fuel window that we saw in the Busch race on Wednesday night, where I had to pit about every 80 to 90 laps, give or take. 80 to 95 laps was kind of my fuel window for some reason. Everybody else's fuel window was normal, right around 120 to 130 laps. I really hope that's not the case with Dave Blaney, because I don't think I'm going to be able to make that time up and win like I did with Clint Boyer in the Busch series. We don't have that kind of equipment. We only had 1 caution that whole race, and it was in the first 20 laps. Blaney looking to go 3 wide. Backed out of it, getting into the corner. Smart move. Struggling to get by J.J. Yaley right now. Oh, Yaley into the back of Busch. And Blaney into the back of Yaley as a result of a little bit of a stack up off turn 2. A little bit more clearance here. These last couple corners get down to the bottom of the racetrack, and now Blaney's moving. Got in a nice rhythm, passed 4 cars like nothing, and just ran his fastest lap of the race. At the lake this weekend. Well, enjoy your time up there. Or down there, wherever you had to travel to get there. Bump and run to Tony Stewart. You got Jeff Green. I think there's definite speed in this 22 car. Man, can Blaney go 4 races in a row? That'd be insane. See Dale Jr. in the 8 car, not that far up ahead. So it looks like he's a little bit outside the top 10 right now. It's crazy even winning 3 of the first 4 races, I'm not the points leader. If this were today's age in NASCAR, we'd be the #1 seed already. Virtue of the wins. Yeah, not the case here. Goes to show having one bad race like we did in the Daytona 500 is that big of a difference maker, and us leading in points and not leading in points, even with being completely flawless since then. I haven't had max points days in those races. I think I only did at the Vegas race. I led the most laps. Atlanta, I barely led any. California, barely led any, but still got the wins. I saw that about Johnny Gaudreau this morning. It's crazy. Johnny Hockey. One of the stars of the channel for sure. Well, Blaney got by the points leader, Dale Jr. Was his brother in the NHL too, or no? I didn't know his brother was in the NHL. I didn't read into it much. I just saw the headline and how it happened and stuff. Yeah, it was like one of the first things I saw this morning. Brother was in the NHL. Yeah, I didn't even know that. Younger brother then, I take it? Plenty up inside the top 10 here. Mostly single file up in the front of the field right now. Jeff Gordon has been leading this race for a minute. Newman led the first few laps. Looks like Newman's still in second. And right on the back bumper, that 24. See if Blaney can put some corners together, try to put pressure on Hamlin for 9th here. Slips underneath. Apron very forgiving at Bristol, and this definitely has allowed Blaney to make quite a few passes through the field already. Bump and run on Casey Kane as well to get to 8th. His sister is about to get married today? Oh, wow. I had no clue about that. Yeah, like I said, I didn't read into anything. Damn, that stinks. I would assume at that point you got to call the wedding off, right? That'd be tough to go on about the rest of your day like nothing happened when something serious like that happens in the immediate family. That's just a terrible situation. For all parties involved in that. Blaney gets by Waltrip. Good start for Mikey in this one. A lot of Roush Fenway Fords up here. Biffle third, Kenseth fourth. Biffle going for second underneath Newman now. And Mark Martin just got past, was in fifth, now is currently sixth. Newman stuck on the outside of the racetrack. Dave Blaney again moving forward here in this one. Kenseth into the back of Biffle. That stalled him out a little bit. His teammates made a little contact, and here comes Dave Blaney. Jeff Gordon's about to get into lap traffic, and Dave Blaney is on the move. All right, well, here we go. Caught Jeff Gordon now. Amidst the lap traffic, Dave Blaney's going to try to go for the lead and use this lap car as a pick. Menard, the pick car, a little contact with Gordon. Blaney out in front at Bristol. There's 5 bonus points, and honestly, as quick as this car feels, I think we've got a shot to go for 4 in a row here today. Got to take advantage on these short tracks, knowing that that's going to be the strong suit for Blaney this season, and it really helps that he's been able to win the last 3 races on intermediate tracks as well. Running the Busch and Truck Series races a lot as of late. I forgot that we don't have any teammates, so there won't be any field passes here tonight for these Cup races.
Number 24 is closing the gap. Outside, got one outside. Still there. We're going to say this helped us so far. All clear.
Yeah, the real struggle was off that initial start for about the first, I'd say, half of the field that we had to pass. Just because everybody was running 2x2, we were kind of blocked in, nowhere to go. Once it started spacing out a little bit, the further up the running order we got, the easier the passes were able to come by, as Dave Blaney's clearly got a fast car here tonight. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. Can't afford to DNF. Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure the case. Yeah, and that DNF in the Daytona 500 was obviously crucial. I mean, we could have... I didn't try to go for the win in the last corner. We would have finished second or third in the Daytona 500. We'd definitely be the points leader right now, but a DNF on the final lap of the race. It just sucks, too. I wrecked, but I stopped like right before the entrance of pit road, so we were... I mean, I was probably a couple hundred feet away from getting past the finish line and probably still ending up with a halfway decent finish. That was the worst thing that could have happened there in that final corner. Luckily, we had about an 80 to 90 lap green flag run, so there were some cars a lap down before that we still finished ahead of, but still, tough way to go out for sure. Alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in this race here today. Definitely think not only we could get the win in this one, but I would like to think we should be able to lead the most laps. I mean, these, short track races so easy to make contact, and we've made quite a bit. We got to focus on trying to pass cars cleanly at all costs going forward. Now that we do have the track position, we can only really try to hang on for this as much as we possibly can. By the way, definitely going to make it over 100 laps on a full fuel run here. So that would be nice here for Dave Blaney. That is for certain. Yeah, there was some college football last night. I didn't watch any. Probably don't plan on watching any tonight either. Plan on catching the end of SmackDown as soon as the stream's over. was hoping to catch more of it, but unfortunately with the stream getting delayed, I think I'm only going to be able to catch the end. It's alright though in a way, only because I'm not going to be able to watch the pay-per-view live tomorrow either. Of course, that's going to be starting during the middle of practice and qualifying for the Cup Series for the Southern 500 tomorrow when we're doing that live stream, and of course the Xfinity race after that, so probably not going to be able to catch any of it until... I'll probably catch a little bit of it before the Michigan game starts. I think there'll be a gap time between the end of the Xfinity race and the start of that. It'll probably be an hour and a half to 2 hours, so I'll probably watch some of it there and then finish the rest the next morning. Probably going to be my game plan with it. Out of gas for a long time on corner entry there. Sterling Marlin really crowding race leader Dave Blaney here. Blaney finally underneath him. Looking to make that pass. Blaney's putting a little bit of a gap over Jeff Gordon now. 22 cars definitely getting through lap traffic pretty well. Got the Daytona 500 winner Elliott Sadler just up ahead. Tigers honoring an 84 team this weekend. I feel like they honor them multiple times a year every year. Do these. It is kind of funny though that like that's the last championship we've had, so like on paper that's pretty much like the greatest Tigers team of the last half century. Just by default. Even though on paper we probably had better teams since then that just haven't won the title, so it's tough to beat when you don't have the rings to show for. Every 10 years. No, there's no way. They do something every year, I feel like. They probably make it more grand in like a 5 or 10 year window, but they do something every weekend. They maybe don't get everybody together like they are this, weekend, but they do something to honor them. I guarantee they get a couple people there every year for a random weekend event. But like I said, though, how could you not when we're the last champions in that franchise's history? I just forget what time. No, I put a comment in the chat before the stream started as to why the stream was delayed a little bit. I didn't forget. No, I was ready to go on time. I was actually kind of upset that I was late because I felt like I shouldn't have been, but things happen. I had kind of a big slide. I got way too much on the apron a couple laps ago. Trying to get by J.J. Yaley. Talking to Greg. I don't know who Greg is. Greg Biffle? There you go. I actually do have an uncle named Greg. I don't know if it's spelled that way or not, though. I think it is. Several drivers multiple laps down already at this point in the race. 75 laps caution-free to start things off. We haven't had a caution-free 100% Cup race yet. Our Atlanta race, that was 50%, and the last one did go caution-free there. I don't want to count that. just for the sake that it was only a 250-mile race. I guess technically this is, with it only being a half-mile short track, but it wasn't a full race, though, is what I'm getting at. We'll count it, but we won't hold it to the same regards that we would for these races. That was a textbook 3-wide pass, by the way. Textbook. I don't know who Craig Fieldspar is. No clue who that guy is. Never heard of him in my life. Nudge. So 15 of Paul Menard. We'll slide him past to clear him down into turn 3. Oh, I was looking at my dog. My sister's dog. I think she had the zoomies there a second ago. She's all huffing and puffing. The process of that, I self-cleared Brian Vickers into the wall. I guess if it had to happen to anybody, at least it was him. I feel like a lot of NASCAR fans don't like that guy. Malcolm in the Middle. Is that like the character's name, or is it... I never really watched Malcolm in the Middle growing up, to be completely honest. I feel like the only time I ever remember that being on was like early in the morning when I'd go to school. I can't think of like what channel it was on. I don't know if it was like Fox. It might have been Fox. Because they always had... what else was on like super early in the morning? It was like King of the Hill, I think, was always on at like 5 in the morning or something ridiculous like that too. That was like the only time I ever remembered it being on. So it was like kind of on, but I never watched it. I always like turn that channel on because I'd be waiting for like cartoons or something to come on. Or it'd be on Fox from like the night before or something, so that's why it was on there, and then I'd go to turn it to something else. Fox, yeah, that makes sense. It's a rerun of it on in the morning. I don't know when they were actually aired. I mean, obviously, during the weeknights would make sense. Most sitcoms are. Although it wasn't really like a... It wasn't... Is it labeled a sitcom? Because... Obviously, I'm not, you know, big into, like, watching TV. But don't sitcoms have to have laugh tracks? Or are they considered, like, something completely different? It's obviously, like, comedy-based, but... I don't think that show had a laugh track. From my recollection of it. I don't even know if that has to define what a sitcom is, to be completely honest, either. I really don't know. That's part of the TV biz I have no understanding of. Between the lines, I don't know what that is. Jordan Kirby, thanks for tuning in. What year was this? The game released in 2006. NASCAR 07. It would be based off the 2006 season. So I'm trying to rewrite history and get Dave Blaney the win here in the Food City 500. We're almost 100 laps complete in this race without a caution. I hit halfway out of gas right at lap 80. So we should be able to go over 150 laps pretty easily without having to pit for fuel purposes. And you're going to see a lot of these drivers try to stay out as long as they possibly can, just in case we get a caution. You don't want to have to make green flag stops at Bristol if you can help it. Yeah, I did see NASCAR schedule for next season. I talked about it a little bit. Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, that's right. Well, we talked about it when it was leaked on Wednesday, but it wasn't officially announced until yesterday. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Obviously, the playoff schedule was kind of leaked a long time ago. I think the big thing for me with seeing the schedule yesterday was knowing exactly what races were on what networks. I didn't realize TNT only had 5 races. I thought they had 6 like Amazon Prime did. Prime's got 6 races, but TNT's only got 5. I thought it was 6 and 6. Unless it was just a typo, you know, on NASCAR.com, but I don't think that is the case. And I'm also not entirely sure with the broadcasts if they're going to be like the same. Like the people working for Turner Sports are going to be the people bringing you the Amazon Prime coverage. I would think that that's the case, but I don't know 100% on that. Which obviously has nothing to do with the schedule release at that point. But yeah, Prime's got some... That's crazy. They've got the Coke 600 and they've got the Mexico City race. Like, those are 2 marquee events. Obviously the 600 because it's a crown jewel, you know, every year, but also having this new marquee event take place there. I'm also surprised, too, with TNT taking over right after the fact. They have the Chicago Street Race as their first race. So all these people that were able to watch the Chicago Street Race on NBC, which would likely have a bigger audience than cable with TNT, that is interesting too. Like, those are usually your bigger draws for TV ratings. The 600, I'm sure like Mexico would probably bring in a lot of TV ratings. So putting that behind a paywall, that seems odd to me. I do feel like that is going to hurt the ratings next year alone. Especially with NASCAR having a typically older fan base. I think you do have to move to streaming at some point because every other sport's doing it. That is going to be the way of the future down the line, so that makes sense. And I do like the fact that it's only Amazon Prime. A lot of these other sports, I feel like you have to get like 3 or 4 different streaming platforms to be able to watch all the games you want to watch. At least with NASCAR, it's, you know, only Amazon Prime or obviously the typical cable or network television channels. So there's that. I also hope for NBC and Fox that they have more races on their big Fox, big NBC with this next TV contract, because there's going to be so many. I mean, every single race pretty much from Memorial Day weekend through end of July, early August are going to be on either cable or streaming. So a lot of your core fan base isn't going to be able to watch those races. So I would hope that the very beginning of the year with Fox, the very end of the season with NBC, that they're all on NBC or Fox. Like, that would be the best case scenario, because if they're splitting between cable and network television too, then really we're actually getting a lot less races on network television with this next TV deal compared to what we already have now, which I think that's a problem. I think that is going to hurt NASCAR's numbers. And I think it could actually help the Prime and TNT with the viewership if you have every single race on Fox's portion of the schedule on Big Fox. Because that way everybody's able to watch every single race then. They'll get engaged if they're watching every single week, to the point when Amazon Prime rolls around, they're going to be like, hey, I've watched every race to this point. I want to keep watching every race, so let me get Amazon Prime. So if you have them on Fox Sports 1 for like the last 3, 4, 5 weeks leading up to them going to Amazon Prime, a lot of those people aren't watching those races anyway, and they're not going to go out of their way to get Amazon Prime because they've missed the last month of racing anyway. They're not going to be missing anything. So I think that that is really going to help or negate the situation with moving to streaming and moving to cable for all those summer races next season, starting next season. Because this is a 7-year deal, so it's not going to be just next season. It's going to be for a 7-year process. I will say, though, the cable races usually do better for my live commentary streaming numbers, so there's that. But I like to, think of growing the sport collectively as a whole, not just my YouTube channel. So while I'm grateful for it, at the same time, I know, a lot of NASCAR fans aren't. So hopefully that gets fixed down the line. Kind of stayed between a 1.2 to 1.6, 1.8 second lead, somewhere between there for a large majority of the second half of this fuel run. Just hit a quarter of a tank of gas left at this point in the run as Blaney tries to put Jeremy Mayfield a lap down, and Mayfield's teammate Casey Kane just up ahead. Blaney's lapped a lot of cars with this race going caution-free to this point. Over 100 laps in. So we alternate through the different camera angles yet again. Truck's going to Lime Rock. Yeah, that is out of nowhere. I didn't see that rumored whatsoever. I don't know if you could call like Truck Series news bombshell worthy, but it was definitely a bombshell of a move there. And I know Rockingham was rumored for Xfinity and trucks. Obviously, that is completely announced after yesterday's schedule release. I wish the Cup Series was able to go to Rockingham. I'm sure everybody wishes. Rico Race, you wonder where they're going to axe another date to bring Rockingham to the Cup schedule. Would it be a Darlington race? And then we just move the throwback weekend back to the Southern 500 weekend again? Because that makes the most sense just because of geographically speaking that Rockingham and Darlington are not that far from each other. So it makes sense for attendance for both tracks. Michigan moved up. Yeah, I know that was rumored. I think a lot of people were saying like Father's Day weekend. It's actually the weekend before Father's Day weekend when it was actually announced. Oh boy, I got clipped. We didn't get a caution for that. I don't know how, but NASCAR keeping it green. I got clipped by the lap car going into turn 3. I kind of overcorrected it back up the hill into more traffic. Sideswiping David Stremme on my way by him that time. Show my displeasure with his move. Nearly turned the race leader. And they're returning to Watkins Glen, too. Yeah, they're losing a COTA date for Watkins Glen, essentially. That's what that seems like. And what, Milwaukee's not on the schedule next year? Am I right on that? And that's where Lime Rock comes in? Or is Milwaukee on the schedule still, too? I didn't look at the truck schedule as long as I did for the Cup schedule and was kind of critiquing date by date. 7-turn Lime Rock. Yeah, I saw it's like, what, a 1.5 mile road course, or maybe a little bit bigger than that. It's not a very big road course whatsoever. I actually just heard of that track for the first time. I saw IROC was doing like kind of a exhibition race there with all their old cars a few weeks ago. That was the first I ever heard of the track, and then here it is on the truck schedule a few weeks later. And I'm like, oh, I know that track. As soon as I saw it. 7 turns. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what you said. That's what you said, so that's what I said. I didn't know it was 7 turns until you mentioned something. I thought we were on the same page. We're getting very close to our first pit stop of the race. Casey Kane losing a second lap. I wonder if Michael Waltrip's still in the top 10. I've lapped that many cars already, despite only having a 1.5 lead over Jeff Gordon. Blaney with the dive underneath Jeff Green. Reed Sorensen. A 2-second lead for Blaney, his largest of the race here. Definitely within 20 laps, at the very least, of seeing Blaney hit pit road for the first time. Still want to be the last car out on the racetrack if he can help it, just in case we get a caution in the middle of green flag pit stops. Now it's about a 2.5 to 2.6 second lead. Jeff Gordon's lost a lot of time just over the last several laps alone. Blaney really starting to put a gap on him. And we've got our first comers onto pit road for green flag stops. This time by should be a 3-stop race. Even if we made it 160 laps, that would put me 10 laps shy of being able to make it on 2 stops. So it is looking to be a 3 pit stop race here today, which was the same for our Busch race, even though that was 200 laps shorter, but that's because of our unprecedented fuel mileage we were getting throughout the course of that race. I'm going to look to pit around lap 155, 156, somewhere around there. Don't want to risk pitting early here and getting trapped a lap down, or 2, if we were to catch a caution. Quite a few of the cars that were still on the lead lap have pitted already, but not all of them. At Bristol, in the middle of green flag pit stops, and never ended up actually getting one. And we've had them obviously before across all the series in this, not just this game, but all the EA games. Oh, that's tight. 3 wide middle. Nowhere to go with the 169 on the bottom. The 2 of Kurt Busch on the outside. Yeah, I'll pit at lap 156 is going to be the plan here. Probably go a couple laps beyond that still, but just want to be safe with not running out of gas. Want to try to maintain the lead over Jeff Gordon at all costs. I hope it's a clean box. Will be on the front stretch pit entrance. Blaney's got a lap lead on the field, so all the lead lap cars have pitted. That's Blaney's cue to hit pit road this time by. You won't have to worry about getting trapped a lap down. And here comes the 22. Oh, how did I speed? Well, that's not going to keep us with the lead. No adjustments, 4 tires and a full tank of gas here. I was speeding by a couple miles an hour there. 2 miles an hour. 72. 5-second penalty. Well, we're definitely not going to be in the lead anymore after that. Jeff Gordon's going to have a pretty big lead over us, too. One of my tires getting out of the pits. 5th place, but 5.9 to 5.8 seconds off the lead. Somebody just blew an engine. I think it was a fantasy driver, the 149, if I'm not mistaken. So, fantasy driver blew a motor. Laney's got the fastest car in the field. Kyle Petty in the 45. Actually, there's 2 cars that are blowing an engine at the same exact time. So one of them was Petty, and I think a fantasy driver was the other one. It was Petty on the front stretch, Petty on the back stretch. I didn't speak too soon. I feel like I do that a lot when I'm doing these gaming streams. Alright, well, try to catch up to Newman, I guess. Dang it. Blaney looking to make the pass for 4th on Newman. And he'll be able to do so. That wasn't the way to execute that corner. Made the pass with Jeff Burton, though. I was way out of the gas at corner exit trying to keep it off the wall. This thing feels loose since my pit stop. Slid those tires coming out of the pits down in the apron. I don't like that it's this loose this early in the tire stint. Consider we're going to have to go another 150 laps on these things if it continues to stay green. This is a season that has not had a lot of cautions. Couple of California, 4 in the Daytona 500 is the most amount of yellows we've had in a single race. Vegas nearly went caution-free before a yellow in the final 20 laps. And caution-free at Atlanta in a 50% race, and here we are 170 laps in at Bristol, and we haven't had a yellow yet either. Ultra got very loose. Getting into turns 1 and 2. And Dave Blaney almost had a 3-second lead. I think the 169's blowing up behind us too. Yep. So now the 169 car is also blowing an engine. Three drivers have blown a motor since the green flag stopped for Blaney at lap 156 to where we are now, lap 174. Those are the first three drivers out of the race. The car did get to pit road on the backstretch, so again, we do continue. By the way, that pass on Kenseth was for third. Greg Biffle, I see just up ahead. A couple lap cars between the top, well, second and third place cars. 3 wide under McMurray, Green, 2. Biffle's closing in on Gordon quite a bit as well right now. Blaney's clearly led the most laps in the race. Probably led over 100 laps to this point. Biffle to the inside of the lapper. Blaney folds the Biff. Blaney underneath Biffle in the backstretch into 3. And Gordon stuck behind the lapper as well. Dave Blaney back out in front. Second different time he's led at Bristol today. Takes the lead off turn 4. Gordon did a good job getting back to the bottom as quickly as he did. I thought for a second he was going to lose that second place spot to Biffle as well. But he did not. A side swipe of Marlin. Yeah, I don't like the way this car feels very loose. It did not feel this loose on the first run. Sliding the tires coming out of pit lane, that has hurt the car quite a bit. I mean, we make it within 300 laps to go in this race and we get a caution. We're going to pit because we'll be in the window to make it on 2 stops. Always trying to take the least amount of stops you possibly can. We know it's a 3-stop race. And we know what the tires feel like over the course of a whole run. And they're probably going to feel worse this run. So definitely take those fresh tires. I'd imagine everybody else would pit as well. Likely thinking the same thing for strategy purposes. Be shocked if they stayed out under a situation like that. Yeah, pit strategy was definitely a huge emphasis on the Busch race. This one, not going to be the case here today. At least by the way things look. A lot of contact with Kurt Busch there. And he's trying to wedge himself back underneath the 2 again. He does. Going to use the 147, who's a slower car, as a pick. Gets by both of them through 3 and 4 that time. Almost 200 laps complete out of 500 at Bristol. No yellow flag to this point. This thing is just all over the place. Yeah, it was definitely not like this on the first run. I feel like I'm just so jagged in the middle of the corners trying to get the car pointed in the right direction by the exit. It's very loose. I think just in case I sled the tires leaving pit road again, next time I'm going to try to tighten it up a bit, put a little wedge into it. Oh my gosh. Oh man, that was a big hit on Kyle Busch. I was out of shape after the first one. The second one threw his car up the track. Oh, the smoke from the lap before. Ah, now I'm in the wall. Yeah, this thing's a handful, if you couldn't tell. This isn't as fun of a drive as the first run was. Not for me, maybe for you guys, the viewers. See me struggle could be entertaining, I guess. I don't think it's going to get better on the longer run either. There we go, 200 complete. Put it at lap 156. Gonna look at around lap 310-ish as being the next pit stop. Like 310 would actually be a good number to kind of strive for to hit pit road then, which is a little over 100 laps from now. I think that's going to be our plan, and we're going to stick to it. Again, unless a caution comes out, we're clearly pitting, but yeah, if we stay green long enough to lap 310, then I'm going to pit then. Hopefully we make it that long. Blaney gets by Menard. Under Hamlin. I mean, obviously we're on pace right now, but could you imagine if I win more races than I did in the Mark Martin Revenge Tour season with Dave Blaney? I've just got this game on lockdown mode with the Cup Series. At that point. I don't understand why the Cup Series feels so easy on this game, even when, I mean, it's not as easy as it was with Mark Martin. Like, yes, I'm winning these races, but Martinsville, sorry, not Martinsville, Martinsville's the next race, but Atlanta in the last race, we only led 4 laps the entire race and won. California, I wouldn't have won that race. I only won on fuel mileage. Otherwise, it would have been a lap down in 25th. And Daytona was Daytona. We didn't have a good run there. Vegas was the only race that I actually had a race-winning car and won the race with it. Well, I mean, Atlanta, it was a race-winning car. I don't think I had the best car because I only led 4 laps, but I challenged for the lead late, and I was able to take it and got the win with it. And in the case of California, sometimes you've got to be smarter than the field. We took the caution for Scott Riggs at the edge of the second to last field run, knowing that, hey, maybe I can make it one more stop from here, and that is exactly what ended up happening. So Definitely got bailed out in that essence as well. I mean, we finished 25th at California. We're still well over 100 points out of first, even with winning the last two. We're hitting our stride. It's good to have this strong of a start to the season because we'll have our races where we're going to absolutely struggle. I mean, obviously, we got to go back to California again. We still got 2 more super speedway races, back to Daytona again, Talladega, which, although I ran well at Daytona, still didn't get a great finish. Those are tracks I struggle to get good finishes at on a consistent basis. These EA games in particular. I felt like I was really good in the heat games in super speedways. Heat 4, Heat 5 on the channel. I was winning all the time. Sorry, I had to pause it for a quick second. Reboot OBS. Looked like we were lagging there for a quick second. I think we're good to go now. Oh, I almost... I went to unpause. I almost hit quit. Oh, that would have been terrible. We're almost halfway home. That would have just simulated the rest of the race, too. I think I would have finished last. Well, I guess there's 3 cars out. I would have finished 40th. I'm 90 laps away from pit stop number 2 if it goes green long enough, and we only got about 3 cars in our immediate future ahead of us before a wide range of clean air. Greg Biffle, I didn't see him pass Gordon for second, but I see him in second. Not sure when that pass took place. Might have taken place, honestly, right after I took the lead from Gordon. He got down initially, and I hadn't really looked out of the rearview mirror ever since. No need to, I guess. Not like it's a super speedway or anything. Let's move under J.J. Yaley. Right as Biffle's passing another lap car, Robbie Gordon back there. 15.029, fastest lap of the day for Blaney that last time. We couldn't get into the 14s in the Busch race, but I think with this a little extra horsepower in these Cup cars, I think we can get into a 14-second lap at some point in this one. Still have a little over half the race. I mean, it was close. We were only 200ths off. I know we're going to have fresh tires back on this bad boy 2 more times yet. And he drives it in really deep underneath Harvick. It's amazing how much more narrow this track feels than in the more modern games. I remember NASCAR 21 Ignition or even the Heat games. It felt like Bristol felt wider to race on. Granted, you know, that's with multi-groove Bristol, and this is obviously just a bottom feeder racetrack, but still has the same, you know, banking and not as progressive banking, I guess, technically, so that's why maybe the banking's a little different, but the distance from the wall to the apron's the same. It just feels so much more narrow. A lot harder to not make contact in the middle of the corner side by side here versus in the more modern games. Well, maybe in NASCAR 21 Ignition because the AI runs you off the racing line, so that's a little different. Halfway out of gas now for Blaney. Oof. Pop into the wall. All is good. Smack the wall again. Also got to make sure not to speed on pit road next 2 times I go to pit. Especially that last stop, because that last stop's going to be in the final 50 laps of the race. Now I've got a fast enough car to try to overcome a deficit. But not going to have a lot of time to do it if we get to that scenario. That's again assuming the... Like, this is still Bristol we're racing at. So, I mean, you would think even the Busch race had 1 yellow, even though it was super early. We went over 275 laps green to the end. It was heavy contact. Jeremy Mayfield, Mark Martin. I believe Martin's on the lead lap. The 6th car. He was in the top 5 really early in the race. What race am I doing next on the game? I'm not entirely sure. On this season, it's going to be a 50% race at Martinsville, which will only be a 250 lap race. That will be the next race on this season. I don't know if I'm doing that. I would like to do an extra race like during the weekend this weekend, if I have a chance to do it. It would be Monday at the latest. I'd also like to save that race for a weeknight because I know I could actually run a cup race weeknight if it's 50%. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Halfway home. 250 complete out of 500. And he's growing the lead out to 2.7 to 2.8 seconds yet again. But still with a lot of racing left. Got to continue to execute lap over lap, corner after corner, and not make a major enough mistake. Cost you a chance to win when you have the best car. Try to keep yourself on the right side of strategy as much as you can. That can be out of your control depending on how cautions fly if we get any, but another part of trying to stay ahead of the race. Play wheelchair basketball. I'm good. Those guys can get physical. That's a full-on contact sport right there. I don't know why you would play wheelchair basketball when you're not wheelchair bound, but probably get schooled, honestly. I don't think I've ever actually been in a wheelchair before. I wouldn't be as fast as people that are used to being in one moving around in it. Because I'm more athletic than you, that's why wheelchair. That would even the odds quite a bit, I will say. Any size advantage I had, completely gone. It's tied our best lap of the race that last time, 15.029. Ran that lap time to the same thousandth of a second a few times now, but haven't broken it. I think Jimmy Johnson's a lap down. He started at the back of the pack in this one. I don't think he was really able to get himself through traffic as quickly as he would have hoped. Michael Waltrip, I know for a fact, is already lapped down. He was in the top 10 earlier. So they very well could be battling for position. As Johnson gets by Waltrip through 3 and 4 there. And about a 4-second lead here for Dave Blaney. Largest lead of the race for the 22 Bill Davis Racing Dodge. As we get towards the tail end of our second fuel run under this green flag stint to begin the race now, 273 laps and counting. Around the world's fastest half mile. There we go, ran a 14 that time, 14.987. I knew I had it in me. First 14.9 of the race. There's a 9.8 too. Oh, 2 laps in a row. 14.989, only 0.02 of a second slower that next lap. I don't know what it did those 2 laps to do that, but all right. I know Matt Kenseth's on the lead lap. 17 car. He's stuck behind Casey Kane, who's 2 laps down. Kansas Spring Race on Mother's Day. And your birthday next year. Yeah, that would be a good birthday present. There you go. So Blaney just lapped Matt Kenseth. Stewart's a lap down to the 20 up there. I'd imagine Dale Jr.'s a lap down also. There's not many cars that are still in the lead lap, that is for sure. I'd probably say 4 or 5 cars in the lead lap if I had to guess right now. And Jeff Gordon not that far up ahead of us, so he's fell back. Lost a lot of time. Remember, he was actually leading when we first cycled out of the pits, and now he's about to go a lap down. So his pace has dropped off quite significantly over the course of the second fuel run. Talk about the 22 cars handling going away as maybe the track has changed. I slid the tires a little too much coming out of the pits, but Jeff Gordon for himself. That 2014, they might have made the wrong adjustment when they were last on pit road, and as a result of them dropping back, at least in the position order, they should still be top 5, but we'll see if that'll hold to the end of the race. We still have a couple hundred laps left. Another 14.9. 14.956. Fastest of the race for Dave Blaney. 3 wide under Stuart and Gordon. Stuart gets by the 24. 22 clears by the end of that lap. 14.954. 2 laps in a row. Quickest of the race for the 22. Ran a 14.9 for 4 laps over the last 10 to 15. 15.018. I think the handle is just kind of slowly coming to me. It's like the car's tightening up over the course of the longer run, and it was too loose on the start. Another 14.987. We're definitely cooking now. 14.951. Nearly a 7-second lead for the race leader, Dave Blaney. Again, lap 310 will be the scheduled pit stop for the 22 team. We do have cars hitting pit road now for the second time in the race. Green flag pit stops have opened up. We got to make sure we don't speed this time like we did on the first stop and evaporate what is the largest lead of the night. I would definitely assume that Greg Biffle is still in second place. 200 to go this time by. Oh, Nemechek trying to pit and nearly wiped out the race leader, Dave Blaney, in trying to do so. Tried to pit from the second lane of the racetrack. Nearly had our first wreck, and it almost involved the race leader. Now I almost turned myself off Tony Stewart, an aggressive move, trying to get back down to the bottom again. All right, back to basics here. We are good. I'm going to pit this time. I feel like I burned a little bit more fuel than I did in the first run. So we'll pit this time by. Everybody that was on the lead lap is already pit anyway, and made sure we did not speed that time. Half around a wedge going into the car. That's the only adjustment here. Going to try to tighten it up for the short run a little bit better. 4 tires and a full tank of gas here for the 22 team. Wait 1 second. I'm going to try to fix the lagginess that we've been. I noticed we've been having some lag spikes during the course of the stream, so I do apologize for that. We've had viewers come and go throughout the course of the stream. I'm trying to prevent that from happening here. I'm not sure what's going on tonight with the lagginess, to be completely honest. Anything I've tried to do to fix it, it doesn't seem like it's fixing it. In fact, actually, I think it's worse now than it was before. Oh, boy. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix it completely here today. How's my internet? I mean, as far as I know, it's good. It's saying I have full connection right now. I mean, it might need rebooted. I'm not going to be able to do that at the moment. I think we're just going to have to tough it out for the rest of the night. I mean, we're almost done. It's just, it's way worse now than what it was earlier. But I noticed it was cutting in and out earlier quite a bit, too. I don't know why frames are dropping. I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to deal with it. Trying to make the experience better. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to deal with it for the rest of the night, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a bad lag. Oh, now I gotta get back in rhythm. I had a long pause there. Cold tires just came out of the pits. Yeah, I noticed it was getting pretty rough there for a little bit. I was trying to fix it, and I think I made it worse. Doing the things I was doing with reboot and OBS. We're probably going to have an intermediate lag for the rest of the stream. I was trying to fix it. Internet, okay, I think it needs rebooted, but I'm not going to be able to do that at the moment. I'll have to address the issue after the stream and then... see if it's fixed before tomorrow afternoon, of course. Doing some live commentary stuff. Should get streaming speeds, get internet capable. Oh, I do have speeds capable of streaming for the internet. I literally have an upgraded internet just for that. Like, this is the best I could get for where I live. Like, there's... the only other alternative is I move and take the risk that the next place would be better. This is literally the best it could get. We haven't had this. Oh man, I snapped really loose there. I got too much of the apron off turn 4 and almost threw my car into the wall. It's just right now. I mean, it's not this bad all the time, but there are days where it does get like this. I mean, there's literally nothing I can do. When I first started the channel, it was a lot worse, internet-wise. I mean, it was like a year or so into the channel before I was like, all right, I need to upgrade the internet. I've literally had about the best that I can get over the last couple of years, so we have internet issues throughout the course of a stream. Like I said, there's literally nothing I can do. Get a computer upgrade? No, I'm still using my laptop. Well, not the same one I used to. No, the one I used to when we were lagging bad there towards the end. That was part of the reason why I took as long of a break as I did, because I didn't have a laptop I could stream with. Made the wedge adjustment. I still feel like the car is a little darty early in the run. It's not as bad as it was, but it does feel like it tightens up over the course of a long run and more laps on the tires start to wear the right front out a little bit more, and then it starts to be a little bit easier for me and it's not edgy loose. Like I said, that half round of wedge adjustment we made, it was a step in the right direction. I might have to make another adjustment when we hit pit road for the last time. Again, only a 3-stop race. Everybody's pitted twice. We have not had a caution. We have been green for 325 laps, 26 at the line. Really. Tell me the comparison of the stream is what's failing. I don't even know what that even means. I've never seen that before. It might not be the internet. I'm starting to believe it may be an OBS problem. See, that's the problem, is I'm not a technical wizard when it comes to this kind of stuff. So when I do have issues, I'll say I can pinpoint it to one thing or the other, but I'm really just doing the best I can to try to resolve the problem with not knowing a lot that I can do to resolve the problem. Upgrade OBS. I try to give it the latest installment whenever... I mean, it'll let me know when I need an update for it. And then I'll update it when it needs updated. I'll check just to make sure I didn't miss anything after the stream. I'm not going to be able to do that right now because who knows how long the update could take. It could be a couple minutes. It could be a couple hours. I don't know. So I'm not going to, pause it with this few of laps left in the race, and especially if it could take a couple hours. Already a slightly later start to this one as it was. So Blaney had about an 8-second lead before green flag pit stops. He came out of the pits and it was about a 4 to 4.5 second lead. It's back up to about 5.5 seconds again. Doing well for himself. Really just kind of hoping it stays caution free at this point. 14.920 that last lap, fastest of the day for the 22. Might get a 14.8 before this thing's done. Fuel window to make it to the end will be opening very, very soon. Honestly, we're close enough now. Caution came out, I'd probably pit just in case, but it'd be tight on fuel to the end. I mean, it was a fuel mileage race in the Busch race, so we had to save at the end and barely made it en route to a win over Tony Stewart, but try not to put ourselves in that same predicament here, so just hope it stays caution-free. I'm all right for 1 or 2, caution-free races on the season. I think it gives a nice even mix of things. We had 2 of them in the Mark Revenge Tour season and on the 100% race side of things, and this will be the first, even though we're only 5 races in here for this one. Dave Blaney obviously trying to get to that points lead. If we can have the #1 seed, when the chase starts, the better. So Chasing Dale Jr. coming into this one and should have the lead. Coming out with a potential win here at Bristol. Earnhardt's not even on the lead lap. Not sure exactly where he is in the running order, but again, we know he's not on the lead lap. And he hasn't led any laps in this race as well. Dave Blaney already clinched the most laps led, so the win would be a max points day. I believe, if my math serves me correct, if Earnhardt finishes 3rd or worse with no laps led, we'll take the points lead from him in this one. Means we have already clinched the most laps led and we get a max points day. Be 190 points with a win. So 2nd with no laps led, we beat him by 15. Another 5 points behind that, so yeah, we'd have to finish at least 3rd. So they were 3 wide up there. I thought that was going to be a potential wreck in the middle of 3 and 4, but they made it through the corner. Not that far in front of Blaney. I feel like a lot of the cautions we've gotten across all 3 series of this game have been around us. And it's not like it's me crashing either. It's the AI that are wrecking around me. Even that one caution we had in the Busch race at Bristol was the same way. The first 20 laps. Go down to the apron off turn 2 on the backstretch to miss it. A few cars piling in on the top side. Wow, well, there's the 14.8, 14.856 that last lap for Dave Blaney. Matthew Dorter Bruno, thanks for tuning in also.
5. Clear on either side. Still outside. Hey, I think you're starting to warm up to us a little. Clear.
Alternate through the different camera angles one more time in the race here today. For about the next dozen laps or so.
Watch the outside. Number 147 is right behind you. Clear all around. Outside, outside. All clear, bud.
Tyler Burback, thanks for tuning in.
Number 10, outside, outside. Still there. Whatever you need, you're clear. The 199 car is outside. Clear on both sides.
Still 3 cars out of the race, all happened in about a 15 to 20 lap stretch of one another with engine failures right after the green flag pit stops. The first set of green flag stops between laps 150-ish, maybe just after lap 150 at the first engine failure and before lap 175.
One's up high. Still alongside. Clear, all clear.
Back to the far chase cam for the rest of the race here. Continuing to log in laps led with Dave Blaney.
Got both sides, you're all clear. Number 40 is looking for the pass.
8.5 second lead, largest lead of the race for the 22. When to pit again, right around 50 to go. Yeah, we still got a little bit yet. Not even halfway out of gas at this point in the run. Yeah. I would say anywhere from 50 laps on less. We'll end up pitting. Just whenever the second place car pits, I'm probably going to pit. Or however many cars are on the lead lap. Once I get a full lap lead, I'll end up pitting that next lap. Well, that's 50, 45 to go. It's somewhere between 40 and 50 to go. We'll make that last stop, though. We pitted at lap 308. First run of the race. On a fuel tank. Splash and go. No, I'm taking tires. Last thing I want to do is go splash and go. We get a caution. Yeah, I'm taking 4 tires. Yeah, we get a caution if I go splash and go, and then I'm on old tires, or I have to pit and give up track position for fresh tires again, even if it is only a couple spots. We don't know how many laps are left. Yeah, I don't want to risk it. You got a big lead like this, you got to play conservatively. And we can afford to go 4 tires, even if I lose a couple seconds on a slow stop. Still going to have a pretty decent lead. Then he gets underneath Vickers finally. Now under Elliott Sadler. Way to upgrade the picker in the game? No, not in a non-career mode situation. Yeah, we've got what we've got for the season mode. They don't have the Mr. Clean crew in this game like they did with 06 and 05. So, you know, in that essence, in the season mode, I was able in the past to upgrade it. But yeah, that's not the case in this game. There is no Mr. Clean crew. I thought there was for NASCAR 07, but I guess I'm wrong. One more clean traffic ahead of Dave Blaney again. .5 second lead. What would this be like if this was real life and we were 390 laps caution free at Bristol? These fans would probably be... I mean, caution free races, you know, you never know. They still could be interesting if pit strategy comes into play for fuel mileage purposes. There's some tracks where that would lay. And it'd be one thing if there were still battles for the lead going on through the midst of lap traffic like there was in the first, 100 to 200 laps. But man, it's just been utter domination. I don't think I've lost the lead since I cycled back in 5th after the first set of green flag stops and I had the speeding penalty. Once we took the lead back from Gordon the second time before lap 200, I don't think I've not led a lap since. 20 likes on the stream. Greatly appreciate that, everyone. See if we can get that to 25 before the end here. We still got a little over 100 to go. Could do it. And even if we end up putting the full field a lap down, if we were to get that one caution, the second place car would get the free pass, get back on the lead lap for being the first driver one lap down. So this thing is never going to be completely out of reach here. Just for that reason alone. Out of reach if it stays green, but that's pretty much already at the point right now anyway. Honestly, even with a speeding penalty, I'd still come out with the lead because it's only a 5-second penalty. Even if I had a couple extra seconds slower stop too, I'd have that much buffered off as well as potential penalty. Still don't want to make it close, but plus, that would give more cars their lap back, giving up that much time as well. So in the event of a caution, there'd be more than just 1 or 2 cars on the lead lap, other than Blaney to be a few more as well. 100 to go, 400 laps complete at the line there. To get about 50, give or take, laps away from the third and final pit stops of the night. I can do a splash and go, I'm just choosing not to. I just, there's no upside to that if the caution were to come out. The only time in the event I would go splash and go later in the run would be if I was at a deficit trying to make gains. When you're in the lead and you're not in danger of losing it, there's no incentive to go splash and go. If the cars around me in the running order, you know, were closing in on me, the further along we get into this run, that'd be one thing, but it's just not happening. I mean, the tires would hold up an extra 50 laps, I'm sure. Might not feel great, but... yeah, splash and go would be an offensive move if you're playing from behind, for sure. Just over a 12-second lead over Greg Biffle, who I'd imagine still second. I would not be shocked if those are the only two cars on the lead lap, because I think that is the case. Kenseth, who was in the top 5 earlier, he's probably 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere around there. Martin's ahead of him now, so yeah, about 5th, 6th, 7th, I'd say, for Matt Kenseth, and he's 2 laps down now behind the 22. $90 to go. I think I see that. No, that might be Bobby Labonte. Never mind. Can't tell if that's a 43 or the 16 up there I see. So I know Biffle's in the subway scheme, which is similar to that of the... I think that is a 43 up there. So the 16, I think there's another yellow car I see a few cars ahead of what appears to probably be Bobby Labonte in the 43 car. 3 wide, making a pass on Martin in the 199. Yeah, it is Labonte. 5 more cars ahead of that would be Greg Biffle in the 2nd place position in the 16. Just try to bring back the Mark number 6 font.
Number 41.
I think he has for some of the throwback races at Darlington.
The 41 car.
Actually, I think the last throwback race, I don't think they even had a throwback, did they? It was either last year or it was this year that they didn't have a throwback for Darlington. I think it was this year, because when he won, I don't think that was a throwback scheme he was in. Or was he in the Castro car this year? I can't remember if he was in the Castro car this year or if it was last year that he was in it with that throwback scheme. I can think of the scheme, I just can't think of... Oh man, last smoke on the back straightaway. Well, we almost had a caution last lap. Somewhere around the racetrack. Didn't see the contact take place on her own, but it did happen. More smoke. It might have still been the same, actually. Didn't fade away into the sunlight yet. And Blaney trying to use Newman as a pick. Blaney has lapped the field here as we are caution-free at Bristol. Greg Biffle goes a lap down. Still have 71 laps to go at the line. Was this year? Okay. Yeah, I feel like some teams still do run throwbacks, you know, on both Darlington dates for some reason. I feel like as punishment, the ones that didn't do it in the spring should do it this time of the year, at the very least. Make up for the lost cause from the spring race. It'd be hilarious if it was like a requirement by NASCAR that you have to run a throwback scheme on throwback weekend. If not, you start at the tail end of the field. Start them at the rear. Didn't participate in throwback weekend this year. Looks like you're starting at the tail. Biffle pits before Blaney. There's a chance he could cycle back onto the lead 18 laps away from pitting at this point. Or right around there at the very least. Oof. I wish getting into like a one-lap lead like this, there was still like some sort of an interval behind the +1. That we could tell exactly where Biffle was behind us. We do have cars on right now, so there's a very good chance Greg Biffle might have been one of those first cars onto pit road. Trying to leapfrog back in front of Dave Blaney, who's going to continue to stay on the track for At least a bit longer. We're definitely going to go past 50 to go before we pit. Might be closer to the 40 lap to go mark before that pit stop would take place. So now I guess when we get 2 laps ahead of the field is when everybody would have made a green flag stop then. Oh, Vickers trying to pit. Cut the nose of the 22 off, and he almost sideswiped a car coming out of the pits as well. It wasn't as egregious as what Joe Nemechek did. At least Vickers was in front of us when that happened. I just ran into the back of him not checking up soon enough. $50 laps to go this time by. Fuel tank on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, the indicator light isn't even flashing red yet, so we could definitely go a little ways from here. Oh, wow, caution's out. First time today, 50 laps to go, and I think it happened in 1 and 2 down on the bottom of the track, so we will not go caution-free here today at Bristol. Robbie Gordon turning himself off the 199. Oh, wow, Kenseth was in the tire barriers, too. So Kenseth, if we didn't get a caution for this, we were going to get a caution for Matt Kenseth in the tire barriers, which was before that. So 2 accidents basically happened at once here. And Blaney's final stop will be under caution, and this should give the free pass to Greg Biffle, assuming he is still only 1 lap down. And if he pitted and was 2 down behind us, then whoever else was in second will get back on the lead lap. Biffle's on pit road right now, so yeah, Greg Biffle will get the free pass from second place. He will be back on the lead lap with less than 50 to go in the restart. And he beat us out of the pits, too, so I think for that reason, he's going to be right there. Oh, my gosh! Just hit me under caution. Green flag back in the air. I think he mistimed the restart zone. Big slide getting down into turns 1 and 2 there. No adjustments for the 22 on pit road. Greg Biffle all over the back bumper, and the race for the win is on. That's what I mean. 1 caution. And the second place car gets the free pass, and they're right there with a shot to win the race. 451 laps of green flag racing to begin this one. All nullified for Blaney in the race for the win. Obviously, it's going to secure him a second place finish at the very least if he just finishes the race. But now it's a race between Blaney and Blaney looking to get by the 66 car pretty quickly here. To get back into that clean air advantage. And he'll clear him in the middle of 3 and 4. So 41 laps to go at the line. Dave Blaney. It's clean air in front of him. A 7/10 of a second lead over Greg Biffle. Well, it kind of stinks we didn't go caution free. Obviously, not just for the sake of this being more of a challenging finish, but still have to search for our first caution-free race of the season. That was just like the Vegas race, where we go like 80 to 90% of the race caution-free, and then we get a caution the final like 10% or so. Vegas, we had a yellow in the last 20 laps. And this in the last 50 at Bristol, which time we had the Vegas caution. For the last two 100% races, we've gotten a yellow in the final eighth of the race. But again, it gave Greg Biffle a chance. His best chance is as soon as he gets by Jeff Green. Dave Blaney clearly has been the best car in lap traffic today. So if the leaders do have to deal with lap traffic one more time before the finish, I'd like to favor this 22 car. Blaney's still working on Jeff Green. He's not clear yet. Still door to door into 3 and 4 this time. 34 laps left at the line. Blaney 0.8 of a second lead as Biffle clears the 66. Blaney was actually about 0.2 quicker than Biffle that last lap as well. Another 0.2 quicker. Last two laps, he was 0.2 of a second. A lap quicker than Biffle. It's a catch of Dave Blaney. He keeps this pace up. I mean, it's like consistently 0.2 of a second quicker a lap. Being aggressive, getting the left sides down on the asphalt there for that extra grip, and helping turn the car, and end result, consistently running, 14.9s, low 15.0s. And this feels like a track Dave Blaney and great equipment could win at. Bristol Motor Speedway. It's a track that probably suits his driving style the best in the Cup Series. Maybe more so today's Bristol than back in 2006, where it was just a bottom feeder racetrack, but a dirt racing background. Probably why he was as good at Darlington as he was back in the day. Lack of grip on that racetrack, kind of slipping and sliding around. Career best third place finish there. Spring race of 03. Well, we've gotten him a match of his career high a couple times already this year. His first 3 career wins, back-to-back-to-back races 2 through 4, looking to go for 4 in a row. And the most dominating of those 4 by far yet. And Blaney's going to lead over 400 laps of this race. What a drive. 21 to go, and lap traffic right in front of him. David Stremme, Paul Menard will be the first 2 lappers at the tail end of the field of those that are still on the racetrack. 20 to go. 3-second lead. 14.854, fastest lap of the race that last time by as well. Nice to know we don't have any rivals in the Cup Series either. Just made this race a lot easier than the Busch and the Truck Series, where we do have rivals, especially in the truck side. Had a lot more there. Way loose off turn 4. Extra aggressive again, trying to grip up on the asphalt below the concrete down there, and it's really helped this run out quite a bit. Get away with that here. It's definitely forgiving. Kind of using the line all night, just more aggressively late. It's a little too aggressive a few laps ago when it got loose. I want really all 4 tires below it, but if you can get the left sides below it pretty consistently. Up and run on the 147. 5-second lead, a little more clean traffic. 11 to go this time by. Blaney just wants to see the white flag. No chance at a green-white checker restart here. No cautions on the final lap in this game. Ten to go. Would think with over a 5-second lead already, we would have had a restart about 30 laps ago, but we did. And Biffle even having the second best car of the night to finish second is nothing for Dave Blaney. But obviously he's not the only one. Taking advantage of the B car on a short track, that's for sure. Trying to take advantage of that at Martinsville in the next race as well. Will be a 50%er. 250 lap race there. Five to go. 6-second lead. No cautions of final lap in 08-09. All the 8 games. I wish it was like that on games going forward. You know, obviously in real life you have safety precautions. But I mean, in a video game, we'll keep it green. Makes it more fun that way. White flag this time. 1 lap to go for Dave Blaney. It's going to be just a 1 caution race here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Blaney clears Busch to put him another lap down. Checkered flag waves. 4 races, 1 in a row for Dave Blaney. Quick race tonight. 2 hours 11 minutes on this one. Let's go. Only 2 cars finished on the lead lap. 440 laps back. Finished 2 laps down. Jeff Green, 2 laps down, finishes 3rd. Kurt Busch, 4th. Matt Kenseth, 5th. Bobby Labonte, 6th. Kevin Harvick, 7th. Jimmy Johnson, 8th. He was 3 laps down. Denny Hamlin, 9th. And 10th was Jamie McMurray. We don't have any teammates, so nothing to look for there. Jeff Gordon led 45 laps, finishing 14th. 8 lead changes, 1 caution in this race. I don't even think we had 8 lead changes. But 121.97 mile per hour average race speed, 6.6 second margin of victory. Again, 2 hours, 11 minutes, 5 seconds total time on the race. 12 car of Newman, who started on the pole, led 12 laps. And as far as drivers who DNF'd in this one, we only had 3. It was T. Peterson, Kyle Petty, and B. Payne were the engine failures. 11 laps down for David Stremme in 40th. Last of those that finished on the racetrack. We're about to double Bill Davis Racing's all-time wins in this season alone. As an organization, that's crazy. Next race will be 250 laps in Martinsville. Again, that will be a 50% race. And we'll see if we can go for 5 in a row. That'd be insane. Just keep the winning streak rolling. Why not? Believe it or not, with 4 wins in a row, this is our first points lead of the season. It's only 64 ahead of Dale Jr. Newman still within 193 back. Greg Biffle 129 back. Top 5 in points are actually within 1 race of each other. Sadler didn't get a top 10 tonight. He was the only other driver to win a race this season. He won the Daytona 500 at the start of the year. The fact that we were going for the win on the last lap of that race, we could have won the first 5 races. That's insane. What a start. And Reed Sorensen's last. He's getting beat by a fantasy driver. That's how bad Reed Sorensen is this season. He's got a fantasy driver ahead of him through 5 races. That's going to end tonight's stream. Appreciate it, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We'll be live, doubleheader tomorrow. Live commentary coverage. NASCAR Cup practice and qualifying will begin at 12:30 Eastern Time. And we will also have NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern as well. I'll put that in the community tab also. Be sure to join. Thanks for watching tonight's Food City 500 at Bristol on NASCAR 07. Hope to see you tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for watching.